We couldn't miss the opportunity to have a chat with Soji, the winner of the 2018 Nigeria Prize for Literature. And among other things, we asked him to share his views on some of the criticisms aimed at the Nigeria Prize for Literature. Enjoy this. Soji, nice to be here with you.
Thank you very much.
And congrats again for winning the biggest prize, literary prize in Africa.
Thank you.
Thank you. You were part of the, was it 2014 or 2015?
2014.
Prize for Literature contest.
Yes.
And you lost.
Yes.
4 years later, you won it.
Yes.
What was that like for you?
Well, when I lost out in 2014, I made up my mind immediately that I'm going to go in for the 2018 edition. So I had ample years to work on a new play. So it was, in 2014, I was so devastated because I thought I had written a very good play.
That could win.
That could win. And it ended up not winning the prize. So I was clearly devastated. But then I had a 4-year gap to work on a new play, and that was what I went into. I made up my mind that I was going to apply for the 2018 edition.
So you actually wrote EMBERS for the competition?
Well, if you say so, I don't write my play for competition, but I had made up my mind that I was going to enter EMBERS for it, or whatever the title could have been. I had made up my mind. So it was not like I wrote the play specifically for the competition. I wrote it for myself as a creative writer, out of creative tendency, but with the focus on submitting it for the prize.
How did you feel winning this prize? I mean, this is the biggest literary prize.
Yes.
In terms of monetary reward.
Yes.
And
yes.
And really in terms of prestige too.
Yes.
What did it feel like for you winning this?
Well, I know it's one step upwards, is a big elevation for me. But then on the surface, I do not want the winning to alter my lifestyle at all. So I have cultured myself over time to be modest, and I am retaining that. The prize has given me a solid financial base. I quite agree with that. But to start living flamboyant life, I don't think I'm in for that, or to change any of my lifestyle for any reason at all. It just prompted me to the fact that people will be looking up to me to see my next production, my next work, and that means extra work.
Why playwrights? Why not prose? Why do you write plays?
Yeah, my background discipline was in theater, and you know, play is the genre that we deal with. So it's more comfortable for me to write plays. I'd set out about 3 instances to write prose, and they were failed experiments. So I had told myself, if I'm going to write any prose work, a novel, I'm going to give myself a 1-year break from work, from every other thing, and focus exclusively on it.
In some circles, there is this conversation going on about the NLNG sponsored Nigeria Prize for Literature.
Yeah. Some
people are saying, why is NLNG giving $100,000 to a winner when the money could be spread out
around
into the industry?
Yes.
Maybe part of it given to the prize winner, part of it given to publish the book and distribute it and all that.
Yes.
But some people are making the argument that the books of the prize winners are hardly seen around, are not well distributed.
Yes.
The winner takes the money and that's it.
Yes.
What's your take on this conversation?
I must confess to you that I belong to those group of people who actually feel the $100,000 is too much for the winner. Yes.
That's incredible.
That's the truth.
Even after taking the check?
Of course, I can't refuse it. when we were summoned for a book reading on the long list, I voiced that out to 2 of the writers. That's how I wish NLNG could actually spread out the money and give the winner the largest portion. But then I have encountered...
Okay, your case is for the second and third prizes, right?
Not even for the last 11. Just give them probably $5,000, and then probably the winner goes home with 50,000 naira, but $50,000. But then I have encountered some other arguments against that kind of proposition, which actually seem superior. In fact, someone in the literary world told me the prize is projected naturally to be like the Nobel, where it's just one winner. You know, whenever I have that kind of argument, which I feel are superior to mine, I try to cool down.
So right
I
now,
feel,
having listened to that argument, your
yes,
position at the moment
yes,
is that it is okay as it is.
Well, personally, I'm still not okay. Probably I'm okay with the $100,000.
You had better be.
What I feel is that NLNG should try in some ways to also compensate those on the long list. I think for coming that far, I think they deserve something to take back home. I think so. It's a personal opinion.
But generally speaking, the idea of a prize,
yes,
that is well rewarded is a good thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is very, very fundamental. And I can also assure you that this is one prize that people have looked up to every year in Africa, aside the Nobel. That is just sacrosanct. You can't take that away. So it's a good thing that the NLNG has done. Of course, some of us are advocating that they can do better. I am not part of those advocates who are probably sore losers who are saying undignified things about the NLNG. What I just mean is that there should be some form of propellant to be better than it used to be. Every year I know NLNG tries to be better than the previous year, but we are just saying the aspiration is still not enough. I know they are not getting the desired support. For instance, there are bodies of authors or writers who should come in to support. But what you find out that most of these bodies are doing is to seek for NLNG funding. You know, it's because it's something that you can't fathom. A group that should actually collaborate to make sure the prize works better is seeking for some funding, or, you know, people are trying to throw in proposals to NLNG to fund whatever, wherein you are supposed to be part of the people who are serving as free consultants, because it's a writing prize, it's a literature prize, and we all have stakes in it. So we should be able to give them unsolicited consultation on ways to improve the prize. But we've seen some people throw themselves to the gutters saying undignified things about the prize and the advisory board. You know, there are things they could do better. For instance, you mentioned that book distribution. It is not the problem of writers. You can't write and then start looking for ways to distribute your works. You won't be able to write another play. And the truth is, it is still not NLNG's work. It is not their business. They have instituted a price. But we are saying if those other stakeholders could come around and lend a hand and say, okay, on this side of distribution, we can do this, either for free or for little amount of money, which is about, you know, the tendency around. People want to tap into this thing because they feel it's a money-making venture, is a competition to enrich some people, which is not it.
What's the biggest need of Nigerian writers today?
I think it's distribution, the distribution of their works. I have fantastic students who are writers, fantastic writers, and they keep telling you, even if I go to my family to solicit money to publish my book, how do I sell it? How do I make it reach out? It means they are looking for about triple the amount they used in publishing to start looking, soliciting logistics to distribute their works, which makes it very, very awful. So that's, to me, the biggest challenge facing authors, book distribution.
Why are prizes like the Nigeria Prize for Literature not impacting on book distribution? In some other countries, I mean, one has observed that a book that wins a major prize then becomes a bestseller.
Yes.
Why is that not translating? Why are the prizes not translating into more sales of books here in Nigeria? What's your take on that?
Number one, we must realize that NLNG is not a foundation, and it's an oil and gas organization. Their focus shouldn't be literature at all. But for coming into literature to institute this kind of prize, we must give them very big kudos. Now, I go back to what I said earlier. There must be stakeholders in this kind of competition. I know there have been attempts by some stakeholders, but I know the intention of some of them. You understand? Oh, this is a big prize. We must be able to, get our own from it. But I tell you, if there are people with good intention for the love of literature, I don't see any reason why NLNG wouldn't be able to. It is not their business to help in the distribution, but they can commit some form of funding into it if there is a systematic process on ground. But who are those to institute that systematic process?
Let me be sure I heard you right. Your answer to my question is failure of certain stakeholders within the book chain
to collaborate with NLNG. I think that is substantially.
I'm not even talking about the Nigeria Prize for Literature alone.
Yes.
I'm even talking about, there are quite a number of literary prizes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm wondering why they do not, winning them, do not always translate into more book sales, unlike what you see in other parts of the world.
Yes.
Once a book writer has won, say the Man Booker Prize or whatever prize, Nobel Prize, becomes, people tend to buy those books the more. I was wondering why we don't see that here.
Yeah, I think that is also strategic, and it involves the collaboration of the publisher with the sponsor of such kind of prizes. And then there is a media hype that will surround such kind of winning, and then it becomes systematic, and they all go to work. The publisher goes to work, the organization commits some sense into such kind of distribution, and the media starts. So people tend to, for instance, the Nigerian Prize for Literature, usually after the prize you hear about the person and the book only in Nigeria. What about the other African countries? What about the other parts of the world? I don't think personally it's a business for NLNG. They can commit some funding into that if they so choose, but then there has to be some systematic process instituted by some other stakeholders to facilitate that. That's just so the publishers are also part of the problem. I don't blame them, because these days it's difficult for people to even buy books. So few publishers who want to commit themselves into investing in something that they won't have returns. Understand that publishing mainly in Nigeria is a business thing. It's not a literary thing, unlike what obtains in some other countries. So someone who has invested in a business will want some form of returns. So it's a systematic thing. It can't be solved by just one side of the literary angle. All these people have to come together, different stakeholders, to now see how do we help to accentuate this kind of prize beyond the giving out of 100,000 and all these micro book readings. How do we blow this prize up?
Thank you very much, Soji.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.